Hi everyone, my name is Chandru from the Department of Zoology, PGSF, and welcome to my topic Vermicomposting, Harvesting, Package and Transport. So let's go to the session. So vermicomposting is the process of using worms to decompose organic waste into nutrient-rich compost. This process is a form of composting that is faster and more efficient than traditional composting method. So the traditional composting method is nothing but the simply dumping the vegetable and fruits waste in and burying them in the soil and getting the compost. But it is a long process and time consuming process. So vermicompost is a very faster and efficient method. So the overview of vermicompost process. The whole process of vermicompost process is site selection, species selection, vermi preparation, feedstock, inoculation of earthworm, feeding and maintenance, harvesting, package and transport. So the harvesting vermicompost is an important step in the process of vermicomposting. It involves separating the worms from the nutrient-rich compost that they have produced so that the worm compost can be used as a soil amendment or fertilizer. The process of harvesting can be done using various methods depending on the scale of vermicomposting being done and available resource. So proper harvesting techniques are essential to ensure a successful vermicomposting operation. Effective harvesting not only produces a high quality compost but also maintains a healthy population of worms which are essential for continued composting. So these are the methods of harvesting. First one is hand sorting or hand picking, second is light method, third is migration method, fourth is screening method. Let's see one by one. So first one is hand sorting or hand picking. This method involves manually removing the worms from the compost by hand. The compost is placed on a screen or tray and the worms are picked out and placed in a separate container. So we not only picking the worms, we also take picking the cocoons also. So this method can be a time consuming but it is effective. So second one is light method. This method involves shining a bright light on the compost which causes the worms to move away from the light and towards the bottom of the bin or container because earthworms are very sensitive to light. So the compost can be scooped off the top layer and leaving the worms behind at the being the which is in the bottom layer. So third one is the migration method. So this method involves moving the compost to one side of the bin or container and adding the fresh bedding material to the other side. So this method will migrate towards the fresh bedding material, leaving the compost behind. Once the worms have migrated, the compost can be harvested. So in this picture, you can see in the left side, you can see the vermicompost. In the right side, you can see the waste, that is the vegetable feeding materials. So you can see the worms direction, that is the horizontal migration. So worms move this way. So the last one is the screening method. This method involves using a screen to shift the compost and removing the worms. So the compost is placed on a screen or mesh and shaken gently, allowing the compost to pass through while the worms are caught on the screen. So the so in this picture you can see that modern modern one of the screening process. So in this the cylinder, the vermicompost are placed placed inside and they rotate the cylinder. So as they rotate the cylinder, the cylinder contains a mesh. So with that the vermicompost, that is the vermicast, will be screened and fall off at the bottom, leaving only the cocoons and the earthworms at the inside of the cylinder. So it is a very effective method of harvesting the vermicompost. So next one is the packaging vermicompost. So once the vermicompost has been screened, it should be allowed to dry to appropriate moisture level. So the ideal moisture content for vermicompost is around 40 to 60%. If the vermicompost is too wet, it can be spread out in a thin layer to air dry. If it is too dry, it can be lightly misted with water. Before packing, it is important to inspect the vermicompost for any signs of contamination such as mold, or unusual odor. So if any issues are detected, the vermicompost should not be packed and may not be recomposted. So totally waste. So we should do the process very carefully. So there are four types of packaging method. First one is bagged method, bulk method, container method, blended method. So bagged method can be packed in bags of various size ranging from small bags for household use and large bags for commercial uses for or agricultural applications. So bags can be made of paper, plastic or compostable materials. So we use in this world we should use only the biodegradable bags so that it is very useful for the earth. So the second one is the bulk method. For large scale users such as landscapers, farmers or garden centers, vermicompost can be sold in bulk quantities. This can be delivered in dump truck or a trailer on it, or it can be picked up by the customer with their own truck or tractor. So in this picture you can see the 50 kg package. So the containers. So containers can the vermicompost can be packaged in a container such as buckets or pails or plastic bins for easy storage and transportation. This is particularly useful for small scale users such as home gardeners who only need a small amount of compost. So next one is the blended method, blended package. The vermicompost can be blended with other soil amendments such as peat moss or perlite. So peat moss has high water absorption capacity, and to create a custom mix for specific applications that can be packed in bags or sold in bulk depending on the customer's need. So last one is the transportation. So we have harvested the vermicompost and packaged. Next one is the next we have to deliver to the specific locations or the spots. So transportation is very important. Transportation of vermicompost can be challenging as it is a perishable product that requires careful handling to maintain its quality. Here are some tips to ensure safe transportation of vermicompost. The first one is use appropriate vehicles. So next one is the cover the load in a correct way. Maintain temperature. It should not be very high temperature or very low temperature. So we should maintain optimum temperature. Protect from moisture. As I said, 40 to 60% of moisture should be maintained in the vermicast. So protecting the moisture content is very important. And label the packages. You should label the package with a telling them the vermicompost and the company brand as they wish. So these are the references which I taken for this harvesting, packaging and transportation. So thank you so much. Thank you for listening.